Hello, welcome back to another breaking news update. My name is Jimmy Boyd, and you were watching Boyd News. I want to thank you so much for tuning in today. I'm back with another update coming out from the war between Russia and Ukraine, and I've got a very big lineup of news to brief you all on today. So today's date is June 7th, 2025, and it's Saturday. Hope you guys are all having a wonderful weekend. We've got a lot of news to cover in today's update, and I'm pleased to announce the return of Oil Depot News. And for many of you that might be around here for more than 3 to 6 months on the channel, you probably know what I'm talking about. As back towards the beginning of the year and late of last year in 2024, Ukraine was just smashing oil depots all across Russia. And this stopped for probably the last 3 to 4 months now. We haven't really been seeing this. And just over the last week or two, we've been seeing Ukraine actually going after airfields. But we had another report today, just like yesterday, of another fire at an oil refinery. So take a look at your screen here. Major fire reported at Russia's Lukoil refinery in Nizhny, Novgorod Oblast. A bitumen production unit is burning in the city of Kstovo, Nizhny Novgorod region, and two tanks containing petroleum products, each with a capacity of 200 cubic meters, have been destroyed. Okay, so the reason why I state here that a drone attack didn't take place is because we don't have complete confirmation yet. A lot of sources on X today are stating that this was due to a drone attack, and there was actually drones in the area. I've got video footage of plane-like drones, okay, gigantic drones, and we've seen these before being used. These are drones that Ukraine has that can travel, I think, up to like 2,000 kilometers or close to that inside of Russian territory. And these drones were spotted in the skies over there, so possibly indicating a direct strike on this facility, but nonetheless, a major fire over here at a bitumen production unit. And I believe bitumen is like a semi-solid form of petroleum. So several tanks were destroyed, and you can see Russian firefighters were showing up on the scene to try to contain this fire. So we've got information on that. Also report today that a Russian SU-35 was reportedly shot down over the Kursk region, and I'll give you guys some crazy information today that explains how that happened. So we've got video footage and some information on that in just a minute as well. And then out of Kharkiv in Ukraine, last night they were getting hammered by Russian drones, guided aerial bombs, glide bombs, just slamming into Kharkiv, in a city in northeastern Ukraine. And yeah, they got hit pretty bad, guys. Lots of injuries and people being killed in these attacks. So over 50 drones striking the city of Kharkiv alone. So massive damage over there. Let's get into this, guys. Let's hop on over here to X. Let me start sharing this information with you. So from War Translated, drones hit Lukoil's Kstovo refinery, Russia, sparking a bitumen tank fire and a 100 square meter spill. The plant, processing 17 million tons of oil yearly, produces fuel, diesel, jet fuel, and bitumen. A plane-like drone was seen pre-blaze. Okay, so there is reports of drones that were in the area over here. I don't have any videos showing confirmed hits, but drones were in the area. Then we had a massive explosion on a bitumen production unit over here. So I've got video footage to show you guys. Let's jump into this.
Йоу, мужики, пиздец. Я прям вот рядом, ебать. Я прям вот оно. Это какой-то завод, что ли? Непонятно. Могу, конечно, уебать туда, на территорию, но я боюсь, там очень много легалов. Пиздец, ребята, там прям полыхает. Там прям жрет, огонь сжирает все. Да вроде не снаряд. Пока не долетает, хуй знает. Мужики, пиздец. Йоу, мужики, пиздец.
All right, so crazy video coming out from the Nizhny Novgorod region. If you notice here, it looks like two fires, one right here and one over there, and then they combine with the smoke and it looks like one major fire. So I'm thinking that there could have been two strikes over here, or maybe when this drone exploded, fragments happened to fly over here and cause another fire or something. I'm not sure what happened, but I do believe these were due to drone attacks over here in the area, considering that drones were being spotted in the skies. So pretty insane video right there. Let's move on to another one from Max25. Here's another video as well showing this thing burning as soon after it supposedly got hit by Ukrainian drones. And again, that's what I'm thinking, but I'm going to wait for further confirmation because Ukraine's general staff hasn't even reported this strike yet. or claiming that they attacked this oil refinery over here, but it's approximately 800 kilometers away from the border of Ukraine, or the front line of Ukraine, I guess I should say. And it's not too far away also from the Moscow Oblast, just a little bit northeast of there. So that was another video coming out. Here's a video of a drone that was being spotted. We'll pause it there for a minute, or at least lower the sound so we can talk. So yeah, this was the drone that was being spotted over here. And if you look at that, we've seen these drones before. They look like small aircraft. Yeah, so allegedly this is a drone that was spotted over here flying towards the oil refinery very close to the city of Kstovo in the Nizhny Novgorod Oblast. Okay, so I'm thinking this is what directly struck that facility, but we don't have official confirmation yet. Here's another picture that was coming out showing this major fire here at the oil refinery. Okay, you see all these posts back here too. Okay, this was definitely the refinery that was hit, and this is a massive oil refinery in the Nizhny Novgorod Oblast. And the last time that I understand it was being hit or attacked was back in January. Okay, and that was around the time that, again, Ukraine, almost every week there was like 2, 3 sometimes oil depots, oil refineries being struck by drones. So it looks like Ukraine is starting to do this once again, and that's why I believe it was due to a drone attack over here, considering that Ukraine just struck an oil refinery yesterday. So now from Max 25 in Nizhny Novgorod, there's also a fire at the Enterprise next to the Lukoil. Okay, so this might be that second strike that was right next to that bitumen production unit. So go ahead and take a look at this.
Вот.
Языки-то, блядь, вылетают.
Ой, ебать, блядь.
А хуль он там весь горячий, в этих емкостях.
Okay, so again, I believe there could have been 2 strikes here, and if you look, it looks like one smoke here, one bit of smoke, and then another set right there. So 2 major fires here at this oil refinery in the Nizhny Novgorod Oblast. Okay, so crazy hits over here. If we get confirmation on that, I'll let you guys know later, but it looks like it was due to drone attacks. So now look at this from Visioner. Confirmed this morning in Russia's Kursk region, a Russian Su-35 fighter jet was shot down by the Ukrainian Air Force using an AIM or AIM-120, AMRAAM or AMRAAM, active radar-guided air-to-air missile launched from an F-16 Block 20 MLU fighter jet. Guys, this is huge. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this is the first time a Ukrainian F-16 has ever shot down any kind of Russian aircraft. I mean, usually they use these to bring down drones, carry out strike missions. But apparently, according to this information today that I'm getting, it looks like this Su-35 on the Russian side was shot down by a Ukrainian F-16. So that is just huge news today, and historic that these F-16s, you know, these things are old, and they're still capable of shooting down a Russian fighter jets. So crazy news today. Here's video footage also from Special Kherson Cat, the wreckage of the Russian Su-35 shot down by the Ukrainian Air Force this morning in Kursk region. So look at that, guys. Burning Su-35 sitting out here in the middle of a field, shot down. From what I understand, the pilot did eject, okay, from some sources on X were indicating that the pilot was saved in this situation. Here's the report. Actually, it was kind of bouncing on the screen. It went away. But that was a report from Ukraine's Air Force. So it says right here also, statement of the Air Force of Ukraine. This morning, June 7, 2025, as a result of a successful operation by the Air Force in the Kursk direction, a Russian Su-35 fighter jet was shot down. You can see the date here, June 7, 2025. Okay, so they did shoot down an Su-35, where they're claiming to have, and that's the video footage allegedly showing this thing. Here's another post from Ukraine's Air Force also, and they put a little picture or a little emote showing them covering their mouth with their finger, saying shh, and it says, "Who did this?" So clearly they carried out some sort of action over here, shooting down this Su-35, and that's what they're stating here on X today. Many sources saying that it was an F-16 that shot this thing down. So let me know what you guys think. I mean, that is absolutely crazy. And from what I understand, I think it's the first time that an F-16 has shot down a Russian fighter jet. So crazy news today. Now from Igor Sushko, Russia doesn't have aerial superiority over its own airspace. Let that sink in. So that's something to think about. I wanted to pull this statement up here from Igor Sushko because he's got a point. I mean, Russia does not have air superiority at all, okay? Even though Russia has a sizable air force compared to Ukraine, if Ukraine, you know, with their few F-16s they have, is able to shoot down a Russian Su-35 in their own airspace over the Kursk region, that's huge. So this is a picture of a Russian Su-35 that would have been shot down over the Kursk region today. So very big news. Now, Max 25, a warehouse of fuels and lubricants on fire in Pushkino, Moscow region. Yeah, so some sort of lubricants and fuel warehouse over here caught fire. I don't know if it was due to a drone attack. I mean, we had drones entering in Nizhny, Novgorod. I don't know of any drones attacking Moscow overnight, but most likely they were. I mean, a lot of drones have been entering the Moscow region. So this could have been due to a Ukrainian drone attack. And if not, maybe it was sabotage, who knows? But you can see fuel and lubricants, okay? Directly related to Russia's oil industry once again. So I'm thinking that maybe this was another attack from Ukraine. Just don't have confirmation on that yet. Now for military news UA, a Russian Buk M3 air defense system was destroyed in the south, according to the Southern Defense Forces of Ukraine. Okay, there was a video that was surfacing also on X today showing one of these things being destroyed. And we've been seeing so many of these being hit. I think it was due to an FPV drone, actually. And a lot of times the Baba Yaga drones that Ukraine uses, they're like larger FPV drones that carry bombs on them, and they'll drop them on top of these air defense units. And it looks like Ukraine destroyed another one of these just over the last 24 hours or so in the south, okay, southern Ukraine. Now for NOL reports. In Valyuky, Belgorod region, UAVs reportedly struck an electrical substation and a mobile communication tower. So Ukrainian drones also attacking an electrical substation in the Belgorod region. This is just over the border of the Kharkiv region in Ukraine. So there's a report here with a picture showing a major fire at electrical substation over here. Ukraine's been going after a lot of these recently, especially in the southern areas of Ukraine and occupied Zaporizhia and Kherson regions. We've been seeing a lot of drone attacks in those areas, striking electrical substations. And Ukraine's trying to do this to prevent a lot of these attacks that are coming from the Russians right now. As we know, the Russians are launching offensives. So here's a video coming out also that's going to show this Ukrainian FPV drone slowly closing in on this radar tower, communications tower, and it's going to strike that little satellite dish there, or whatever that is. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but some sort of radar tower here, communications tower. Bam, there it is. Slams right into it, destroying that dish right on the top. So Ukraine's trying to do everything they can to disrupt Russian logistics and slow them down, as we know the Russians are launching an offensive right now. Now for more translated, at least one fuel tank at the Kstovo oil depot in Engels is still burning after yesterday's Ukrainian drone strike. All right, so this is a new picture coming out showing the fire still burning a day later at the Engels oil depot. So this is up in the Saratov region, about maybe 600 to 800 kilometers away from Ukraine. We had this drone attack yesterday on this oil facility. This is the Kombinat Kstovo oil depot that directly supplies fuel to the Engels 2 military airfield located nearby in the city of Engels. And that's where a lot of strategic bombers are located. So these are new pictures coming out showing this thing still burning 24 hours later, and the Russians weren't able to put it out. So at least one tank, maybe two, being destroyed over here at the Kombinat Kstovo oil depot. Now for Max 25, satellite image of the burning oil terminal in Engels as a result of the morning attack. So here's a picture coming out after these strikes took place. So it looks like maybe 1, 2, 3, 4 possibly. I'm thinking 3 or 4 oil tanks were destroyed here at this facility. So massive hit. And I remember the last time this place got hit, there was like several double taps. Okay, this place was getting hammered back towards the beginning of the year. There was one week where it got hit twice, and there was something like 5 or 6, maybe more oil tanks that were destroyed. It looks like maybe they had refurbished some of them, or fixed them and repaired them, or replaced them. And Ukraine went ahead and struck this place again. Okay, some major hits. So now let's move on to what happened inside of Ukraine. We're going to talk about Kharkiv. I've got several videos I can show you guys here from War Translated. Kharkiv faces deadliest airstrikes since the full-scale war began. Russia launched 53 Shahed drones, 4 KABs, those are guided aerial bombs, and a missile overnight, killing 3 and injuring 21, including a 1.5-month-old baby and a 14-year-old girl. 18 apartment buildings and 13 private homes damaged, according to Mayor Terekov. Yeah, guys, absolutely brutal attack last night in Kharkiv. Look at this. All right, so this is Russia's definition of military targets being attacked inside of Ukraine as people's homes, like literally high-rise civilian homes. People just trying to sleep through the night and getting attacked from Russian Shahed drones and guided aerial bombs and whatnot. I can see lots of damage there. Very sad to hear. 3 people were killed and 21 injured so far. Those numbers are expected to rise. Now for Max 25, Russia launched a massive strike on Kharkiv using 53 UAVs, guided bombs, and missiles. Shelling killed 3 people, injured 17 others, including 2 children. That's the worst part, guys, that children are just being harmed in these attacks. Like, it's just absolutely horrible, and I wish this would come to an end and people could stop suffering over here. Whether it be on the Russia side or the Ukrainian side, none of these innocent people deserve to be harmed in these attacks. If it's military targets, whatnot, if it's a war between militaries, it makes sense. But when Russia just deliberately attacking people's homes over here and injuring and killing innocent, young lives, young kids over here, it's horrible to have to see this, guys. But I want you guys to see the truth. Now from Clash Reports, massive Russian strike hit Ukraine's Kharkiv earlier today, city's worst attack yet. 53 Shahed kamikaze drones, 4 KABs, 1 missile, 3 dead, 21 injured, heavy damage. You can see these numbers keep going up. Now it's 21. It was 14, then 17, now 21. Here's another video. Look at this.
Посмотри, что происходит, нахуй. Это просто пизда. Посмотри, посмотри, что они сделали, сука, эти ублюдки, блядь.
All right, we'll go ahead and pause it there. That's pretty much the end of the video, but you can see here apocalyptic scenes in Kharkiv, northeastern Ukraine. This city just gets obliterated almost every single day from Russian Shahed drone. This is one of the biggest attacks that I've ever seen on Kharkiv. Again, with this many drones and missiles, you could see that at one point there was a drone striking right over there. I mean, look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or so massive fires over here in Kharkiv, just getting hammered from Russian Shahed drones. Here's another one from Kate from Kharkiv. Kharkiv this morning, sleeping city, apartment buildings are getting hit. This is terrorism. Look at this one too, 20 seconds. Okay, so if you notice here, this entire suburb in Kharkiv is being targeted, and a majority of it is like high-rise residential buildings, okay? From what I understand, there should be no Ukrainian military targets located inside of these. I mean, why would Ukraine's military be inside there? And if that is the case, maybe that's what Russia's going after here. But what it looks like to me is, again, civilian infrastructure being targeted. You guys can let me know what you think. Why would Russia just hammer this area like that? Especially if it's high-rise apartment buildings. These are literally people's homes. It doesn't make any sense for Russia to do that. But at the same time, what we've been seeing from the Russians, this is their tactic repeatedly, is they go after Ukrainian civilians while Ukraine is hammering legitimate targets that are connected to Russia's military, especially these oil depots and whatnot that fuel Russia's war machine. We have the Russians attacking civilians inside Ukraine, and it's absolutely insane and horrible to watch. Now from Ukrainian Review, consequences of today's strike in Dnipro. Yeah, apparently Dnipro was also being attacked as well. This is like central Ukraine. Reportedly, we had a strike over here. I'm thinking this was due to some sort of bomb or missile being dropped. Could have been a drone also. So we can see massive damage here to what looks like people's homes again, okay? So another high-rise 4-floor residential building being struck. So very sad, guys. Now from DD Geopolitics, Russian forces reportedly used a Fab 3000 high-explosive bomb with UMPK guidance in a major strike on Ukrainian positions. This 3-ton bomb carries 1.2 to 1.4 tons of explosives, glides up to 60 kilometers, and is deployed by Tu-22M3 or Su-34 jets. Production of the Fab 3000 was resumed in 2024 due to demand for high-yield munitions amid the war. So new video coming out showing this Fab 3000 being dropped. This is a glide bomb with a heavy warhead on it. I mean, look at that destruction of this being dropped somewhere on the front line inside of Ukraine. And this is the first time in a while we've seen a video coming out from this. The last time that I showed you guys a video, I think, was from Vovchansk up in the Kharkiv region. That's like a city located right next to the border of Russia. And the Russians and Ukrainians have been battling out in that city for a while now. And it's basically been wiped out. It's almost non-existent by now, kind of like how Bakhmut is on the eastern side of Ukraine. And we showed a video one time of this Fab 3000 being dropped over there. I mean, the destruction power of these things are insane. It's a massive bomb, guys, 3,000 kilograms. Now from Null Reports, a new Ukrainian ballistic missile successfully passed tests in May, covering nearly 300 kilometers and destroying a Russian command post, says military expert Valentin Badrak. The missile is now entering serial production, featuring a warhead weighing over 400 kilograms, significantly more powerful than comparable systems. This is a huge report today, okay? Because we know Ukraine doesn't have a whole lot of missiles that they can use. They do have the Neptune, but they have very little supply of them. They do launch attacks on Crimea from time to time. Sometimes in like southwestern Russia and Krasnodar, we see Neptune being used. But Ukraine doesn't have a whole lot of missiles, and apparently they've got a new ballistic missile that passed successful tests, is now is going to be entering serial production. Okay, so that's very big news, and this is something I've been stating before. You know, the longer the Russians take over Ukraine and end this war, the stronger Ukraine's going to get. Okay, their defense industry is booming like crazy right now. They're massively innovating with drones. Now they've got these missiles they're working on, and they have a bunch of different types of ballistic and cruise missiles that are in testing right now that are just waiting to enter serial production. But apparently they've got a new one here with at least 300-kilometer range that destroyed a Russian command post recently in a test. Looks like it's entering serial production, and we're going to start seeing these being used on the battlefield. So very big news. Now for Military News UA, the head of the Russian delegation, Medinsky, said that Kiev allegedly disrupted the exchange of prisoners and bodies of fallen soldiers. According to him, Ukraine was allegedly given the first list of 640 prisoners of war from the categories of wounded, seriously ill, and youth. And the first part of the bodies of Ukrainian defenders had already arrived in the exchange area, but the Ukrainian side unexpectedly postponed for an indefinite period both the acceptance of the bodies and the exchange of prisoners of war. So apparently the Russians are coming out saying that Ukraine no longer wanted to accept these bodies anymore and to do like a prisoner exchange. We were supposed to be hearing about that happening this weekend, starting today actually, Saturday and Sunday, I think. And somehow it got postponed. I don't know exactly what happened, but the Russians were recording a video apparently of bringing these bodies to the exchange point, and they were located there. They were inside of a truck that was like a freezer truck, and they showed a video of these people opening it up, and there was bodies inside supposedly in bags that were ready to be exchanged, but the Ukrainians didn't even show up, and they didn't want to reportedly didn't want to accept these bodies back for some reason. But now I'm hearing that it's going to be moved to next week. So I'm not sure if the Russians are just coming out and saying this, trying to, pin some blame on Ukraine, that Ukraine's not willing to negotiate or whatnot. But that's what Medinsky said today. You guys can let me know what you think on that. But allegedly, it's going to happen next week. Now from Anton Gerashenko, after Operation Spiderweb, the Russians relocated 2 of their Tu-160 strategic bombers to the Anadr airfield, which is 6,600 kilometers away from Ukraine. For the record, it's only 660 kilometers from there to the U.S. Okay, so apparently the Russians are now moving a lot of their warplanes away from many of these airfields that were targeted last Sunday in Operation Spider's Web. So some of the Tu-160s are getting moved over here, and this makes me think that Russia just really does not have a lot of these bombers left after that major attack that Ukraine carried out. If they're having to move these, and these are Tu-160s that are not heavily used in this war, so maybe they're trying to, conserve whatever they have, because if maybe the rest get destroyed, they want to be able to have a few of these to be able to attack Ukraine repeatedly. So yeah, apparently satellite image showing Tu-160s showing up at some airfields far east in Russia. Now for Max 25, Ukrainian drone attack last weekend likely damaged around 10% of Russia's strategic bomber fleet and hit some of the aircraft they were preparing prepared for strikes on Ukraine. German Major General Christian Fruting said, according to Reuters, according to our assessment, more than a dozen aircraft were damaged. Tu-95, Tu-22 strategic bombers, as well as an A-50 surveillance planes, he added. Okay, so this report coming out today says Ukrainian attack damaged 10% of Russia's strategic bombers, Germany says. So Germany stating it was 10% of bombers that were either hit, damaged, destroyed, however you want to say it. And then the Ukrainians were saying 34%. They were stating that they struck like 41 bombers and spy planes and whatnot. It is interesting that the Germans are coming out and confirming that an A-50 plane has been hit. As we did hear that there was a report that possibly 2 could have been struck and destroyed, and there was video footage showing that as well. This is a statement coming out from the German side. This is what their intelligence is revealing, that 10% compared to Ukraine's 34% with their statement was destroyed on these airfields last week. Now for more translated, Ukraine digs in, building vast trench networks, some far from the front. Kramatorsk trenches now stretch to Sloviansk with new foxhole systems beyond these cities. A Ukrainian analyst reports on Telegram. So these are just pictures coming out showing the positions that Ukraine has been setting up in the Donetsk region of Ukraine and southeastern side of Ukraine, that is. And we can see Bakhmut here, Chasiv Yar. Okay, this is where a lot of the heavy fighting is going on. This is just a little bit north of Pokrovsk, if you guys remember that major transport and rail hub city we've been talking about over here. Here's Kostiantynivka, which is attacked a lot as well. So these kind of red dots here indicate small entrenched positions that Ukraine is setting up. And if you notice, they're setting them up behind all these major cities here, Kramatorsk, Sloviansk. So I wonder if they're preparing for the Russians to possibly take over these cities. They're already setting up massive lines over here, defensive positions. And these yellow lines here too, all over the place, indicate ditches that have been built. So this is also why Russia's not really moving forward a lot, is Ukraine's got so many different positions, even in front of Kramatorsk, Sloviansk. I'm not sure how to say this. I think it's Druzhkivka, if I'm saying that correctly. I might be butchering that. But these are just a lot of the positions being created here. This is the new Donbass line that they're focusing on right now to defend behind these cities if they get taken over. As we know, the Russians are pressing forward. Here's some new satellite images also showing multiple small trenches that have been erected here near the front line and anti-tank ditches being dug. So the Ukrainians are doing whatever they can to dig in and get ready for this major attack that's supposed to be coming here on the east and should have already started by now. Now from Ukrainian Review, some categories of the population of the city of Sumy should consider evacuating to safer regions, said the former speaker of the General Staff, Seleznev. Situation for Sumy is already very difficult because the enemy is actively attacking the city. Okay, so more information here from the Sumy direction. The Russians still pressing forward. Okay, I've got a new map I can show you guys here in just a minute. And it looks like they're calling for more people to be evacuated to safer regions, as a lot of these towns that are close to where the Russians are at right now are starting to be heavily attacked. Even the city center of Sumy was just attacked a few days ago. We reported that Russian Grad missiles were being fired over there. We had innocent people in the middle of the roads being hit by these, some people being killed as well. So the Russians are advancing over here in Sumy, and it doesn't look like they're stopping. And look at this one as well, Ukraine front line. The Russian Federation intensified its offensive in the Sumy region. The enemy occupied Kindrativka and Alexeyevka, advanced near Belovody, Lokhny, and Sadki. Russian troops crossed the border towards the village of Sadki, restoring control over the previously gray zone from the Kursk region. So not good news, guys. I mean, this gray zone that we're talking about here, that's right here, all this gray area, the Russians continue to press forward. You can see the changes here. They're showing just literally a month's time, and the Russians are really advancing a lot. And this map is continuing to expand. At one point, just about a week or so ago, when we first heard reports that the Russians were controlling territory in Sumy, this is up in northern Ukraine, they were only controlling these 4 towns here, Veselivka, Zurovka, Basivka, and Novenki, and there was a red line being drawn right here just to the south of these 2 towns. Now all of a sudden they've taken over at least 6 or 8 more towns. They're starting to expand to the west over here near Kostiantynivka and Kindrativka. So it's not looking good, guys. The Russians are still pressing forward. Ukraine is struggling to hold them back in the Sumy direction, so not good news for Ukraine. Now from Vijesti, various sources claim that Ukrainian armed forces will launch a special operation against Transnistria. Okay, this is in the breakaway region of Moldova. Okay, Transnistria is this kind of purplish color here. This is controlled by Russia. Okay, on the border with Ukraine near Odessa. This is like southwestern Ukraine. And I'm hearing reports that Ukraine might try to invade this area or carry out some sort of operation over there. As there was a report actually that just came out over the last day or two, if you guys remember, that the Russians were preparing to deploy up to 10,000 troops over to the Transnistria breakaway region here of Moldova. Not good news, okay? This could be another front, and we know also there was a report yesterday that the Russians are trying to take over Odessa, and then just a little bit to the east of Odessa over here would be Mykolaiv if this map was continuing in this sign. And the Russians want to try to cut off Black Sea access for the Ukrainians. So the Black Sea being down here, they don't want Ukraine to have access to the Black Sea anymore, apparently, according to a new report yesterday that I showed you guys. So this is not good as well, okay? This war is expanding like crazy over here. And this is right next to Moldova as well. So not good, guys. It's getting pretty crazy. Now for more translated footage shows Pokrovsk, Sviato, Varvarinska. Sorry, guys. Hard to pronounce. Ukraine's largest enrichment facility opened in 2009, employing thousands in Donbass, destroyed by Russian liberators. This was a video coming out showing one of these plants that were destroyed, okay? And this is exactly what we see from the Russians. Like, they take over these areas in eastern Ukraine, but look at the way they take it over. They just obliterate everything. What is the point of taking over this territory if all the infrastructure is just wiped out? So, yeah, just crazy to see this, guys. This is a plant on the eastern side of Ukraine, okay? In the Donbass area, okay? Near Pokrovsk. So, crazy news as well from there. Now for Max 25, Canada is providing Ukraine with more than $35 million in military assistance, including $30 million for Coyote and Bison armored vehicles, along with new equipment and ammunition manufactured by Canadian companies. According to Canadian Ministry of Defense, it is noted that another $5 million Canadian dollars will be allocated for anti-jamming kits and electronic warfare equipment. Canadian Ministry of Defense also recalled that in December last year, the country had already transferred 64 Coyote armored vehicles to Ukraine. So here's some pictures of these Coyotes, I believe. Yeah, apparently Canada's going to be issuing a $35 million aid package to Ukraine, sending them armored vehicles, new equipment, ammunition as well from Canada. So huge news here also. Anti-jamming kits, electronic warfare equipment, major aid package for Ukraine being supplied by Canada. So good news there for Ukraine. Now for Max 25, a major French car company has agreed to set up drone production lines in Ukraine for the need of two armies, according to Militaire. French Armed Forces Minister Lecornu told LCI that unnamed company was chosen for its ability to organize mass production. Companies from France's defense industry will also be involved in the process. Okay, this was a very big report today also. So a major French car company, they're going to be setting up drone production lines in their facilities to help out Ukraine as well. This is allegedly some pictures of maybe some of the drones that might be going to Ukraine. So even more help coming from the West here. We got Canada today. Now a big report coming out from France helping out with drones. So very, very big news. Now for Max 25, results of today's attack on the Mishurinsky plant progress in the Tambov region. The roof partially collapsed. A fire broke out inside. 3 workers were injured, according to Dnipro Ozent. Okay, this report actually came out yesterday, but I wasn't able to share this, so I wanted to show it to you guys real quick. We talked about this defense plant called Progress that was allegedly struck in the Tambov region yesterday from Ukrainian drones. So this was showing damage to it. This is a Russian defense plant. We got a massive hole here on the top of that facility, so it looks like it was directly hit, and that's information that we heard yesterday. Now for Max 25, satellite image of the aftermath of the strike on Bryansk Airport, showing the place where Mi-8 with the ammunition detonated, according to Dnipro Ozent. They flew there in a pair with Mi-35s yesterday afternoon, probably the evening and night. So if you guys remember yesterday, the information I gave you from the Bryansk airport, there was a preemptive strike with Ukrainian drones that was carried out at this airport, and there was a massive explosion. It looks like detonation of so much ammunition. Allegedly, it was an Mi-8 and an Mi-35 helicopter that was struck, and it looks like what we can see here on the tarmac close to the airfield is a really dark black spot there, possibly indicating this fire after this Mi-8 helicopter was allegedly destroyed. Apparently an Mi-35 was damaged or destroyed also in this strike, and they had a bunch of ammunition on board, and that's why there was such a massive explosion, apparently. So huge news. Now for Max 25, Ukrainian air defense shot down 167 out of 206 Russian drones, including 87 shot down, 80 suppressed by electronic warfare, 1 out of 1 Iskander K cruise missiles, 6 out of 6 KH-5969 missiles, 0 out of 2 Iskander M KN-23 ballistic missiles. Okay, you can see a lot of missiles still going into Ukraine overnight. We're starting to see this almost on a daily basis now. Iskander missiles, just all kinds of different missiles attacking into Ukraine. But 206 Russian drones, a lot more than what we've seen over the last few days. We've usually been seeing around 100 or so. The Russians went all out with 206 overnight. But it looks like Ukraine was able to shoot down and suppress majority of these with electronic warfare. Now from Kyiv Independent, these are the indicative estimates of Russia's combat losses as of June 7th, according to the Armed Forces of Ukraine. Here's our final update of the day. Russia's losses as of June 7th, 1,120 troops, 52 AFVs, 166 vehicles and fuel tanks, 15 tanks, 56 artillery systems, 300 UAVs, 4 MLRS, 1 helicopter, 37 cruise missiles, 1 anti-aircraft warfare system, and 1 special equipment. And wow, this is probably the most we've seen in a while, guys. These numbers were just continuing to collapse through the floor. And today, these are some very big numbers. I mean, troop numbers still about the same. We've been seeing about 1,000, 1,300 at max. But AFVs and tanks, look at that, 52 today, 15 tanks, much more, okay? The Russians are starting to attack more now that we're seeing a lot of destruction. This is what I was expecting. I've been telling you guys, I expect these numbers to start spiking because for like over a week now, both these numbers were less than 5. So 52 armored vehicles, are armored fighting vehicles and tanks being destroyed, 166 vehicles and field tanks. This number is starting to jump back up closer to 200 again. 56 artillery systems, a little bit higher also than what we have been seeing recently. We've been seeing usually like 20 or 30 or so. This number is jumping up a lot as well, okay, guys? So 4 MLRS-2 and 1 anti-aircraft warfare system. That's probably that Buk M3 we talked about. And 4 MLRS, that's a pretty big hit as well. We usually don't see much more than 1 or 2 generally down here. It looks like 4 were struck and possibly destroyed. So huge news today, guys. Lots of destruction on the Russian side, especially with this Su-35 being shot down today. So huge updates coming out from this war, guys. I want to thank you so much for tuning in for today's update, June 7, 2025 on Saturday. Hope you guys all enjoy the rest of your weekend. And just a friendly reminder, I will not be here tomorrow. Tomorrow is Sunday, my allocated day off, but I will be returning on Monday for you guys on the, that would be the 9th of June, okay? And unless we get some major information that comes out tomorrow, I might do more videos if we get some huge updates like what happened last week with the strategic airfields, strategic bombers, excuse me, or airfields being hit. So I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in for this update. If you got something out of this, please smash that like button. Also, if you enjoy my content, please consider subscribing down below. Hit the notification bell. That way YouTube can notify you. And with that, hope you all have a great day. Everybody take care and God bless. And we'll see you in the next one.